Greetings, brothers and sisters. So I covered this in my other channel, Apocalaughsnow, which is linked in the description box of this video and all videos. And so this is hilarious and evil. Robinhood, Robinhood, the essence of Robinhood was this thief that stole from the rich to give to the poor. But Robinhood, the app that you use to buy stocks, has just stolen from the poor to give to the rich. So Gamestop live share prices tumble as Robinhood blocks trade. And so Robinhood's allowing people to sell GameStop but not buy it, which is to save hedge funders from losing more money for their cheating and rigging of the system. And so if you think about that, right, that these hedge fund managers are gaming the system to make money and playing around with stocks and people's money. And then poor or, average, normal folks came up with a way to game the gamers, right? To scam the scammers. And they did. And the hedge funders lost lots of money. And now these sites, Robinhood specifically here, are making it impossible for people to buy the stocks. So they are protecting the original scammers. And so that tells you all you need to know. You can see here with Robinhood. So this guy, this is on New York Post, Dave Portnoy, was unhappy with it.
Emergency press conference time. Maybe the craziest one that I've ever done. And I've been ranting and raving all day. But what is going on Wall Street? The way they have absolutely cheated, stolen, robbed everyday people who have been investing with Robinhood and other E-Trade accounts and all this stuff by saying, hey, hedge funds are getting smoked. Billionaires are getting smoked. So we're no longer going to let you trade on certain stocks, GMC, AMC, NOC. We're just shutting it off. You can't buy those stocks anymore. You can only sell them. We are going to crash those stocks so all our hedge fund billionaire friends can get out and not get killed. It is one of the most remarkable, illegal, shocking robberies in the history, in plain sight.
So this is the simple and blatant rigging of the system. And we saw this with Bernie Sanders, who was the most popular of the Democratic candidates. And the Democratic establishment came on like network news, CNN and MSNBC, and literally said, we cannot let Bernie Sanders win. People who were in charge of the DNC, senators and other people, because there's no way that America would elect a liberal socialist candidate. So they rigged the system. Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar backed out. They withdrew. And Elizabeth Warren stayed in to drain the votes away from Bernie. And then COVID kicked in and all this stuff happened. And then Biden was hidden away. And so what that should tell you, I mean, just the way the media covered it, just the way Fox News bailed on Trump, that the electoral system is a sham, right? It's rigged, just like the financial system is even more so rigged. And this is what this is showing you. Because a bunch of individual people figured out a way to rig the system in their favor opposed to the hedge fund managers' favor. And these guys have plenty of money and, they've been doing this for years. And the system said, all right, we're going to correct that. We're going to cover our really rich scamming friends because the system's rigged and scammed. And we're not going to let the little guy do that anymore. We're not going to let you guys, grassroots people, come together and screw over these people who are shorting a stock and are, in a way that's completely unfair. It's allowing one side, the side that's already wealthy, the side that's already doing great, to get away with a form of behavior, cheating behavior, and then not letting the other side do the same thing. And what these, Reddit people are doing isn't really, I don't think, even illegal, because they're just saying, let's all buy the stock and not sell until we drive up the price to a certain, level. And so that, I don't even know if that's considered illegal. It's just a bunch of people, friends, who are getting together. All right, let's go in on this stock, right? And, they're definitely manipulating the system, but it's not as bad as these people who short stocks And literally, there's companies that are depending on, imagine if you're a company and some hedge fund managers decide to short your stock and drive the price down purposefully, taking away people's retirements or whatever it might be. And so what the, Robinhood is doing, it's just so funny that this is how inverted everything is, that Robinhood's stealing from the poor and giving to the rich. But at least this is another form of validation of what I talk about all the time. They're just rigging the system so blatantly out in the open. And, this is like when the casinos, when people started to count cards, and I don't see what's illegal of counting cards, right? See, if you don't know how counting cards works, if you're playing blackjack, they have like 5 decks in the box, and if there's this system of counting cards in terms of their value. The face cards, the cards that are worth 10, have more value or whatever it is. Someone explained it to me, and I knew some people who were able to do this. And so you only bet when the odds are in your favor, and you can figure it out by, just sort of hanging around and letting a bunch of hands play and just counting all the cards that are out there. And so what happened was the casinos realized that people could literally win, that now the odds were in the favor of the gambler. And so they developed all kinds of extensive measures to keep people from counting cards. And so when the odds are rigged in their favor, yeah, everything's fine. But if you find a way to rig the odds in your favor, they take immediate action. And these are all, wealthy casinos and wealthy hedge fund managers and Wall Street itself. And you see what the system really is. It is a system that when you try to get ahead or try to come up with a solution, they figure out an immediate way to stop you. So let's say you got to go on social media, Reddit or whatever, and you tell everyone, all right, let's do this. You get everyone together to buy some stock. They'll immediately stop the sale of the stock. So they figure out a way to close the loophole. Like within, a couple of days. Some people lost some money, but now it's been fixed and the system's rigged again. And this is our economy, and this was why I keep on saying, if they allowed people to get away with this, the economy would collapse. The money the hedge funders lose, a lot of this value disappears in stocks and things like that. And it takes it right out of the system. It's all dead. It's all a lie. It's not really worth anything. And this is our economic system. I'm going to make a more, longer video on this, more extensive video on this tomorrow, hopefully. But this is why I always say that taking over a rigged system and then thinking you can make it fair is impossible. Like there's all kinds of, rigged rules and illusions and manipulations and like psychological operations that go into keeping the system going. Like people have no idea how fragile the system is. And then once people lose their faith in the system, it collapses. And so these people, who are, all right, we can take it over from the people that control the system. Well, yeah, you can, but you're not going to have a system after that. Somebody wrote me a comment saying, Paul, you're underestimating. We don't need governments. That governments, if you're underestimating how good people are. If you got rid of a government, we wouldn't need it. Well, think about the pollution that corporations are willing to do if there was no government limiting it, or the robbery that the rich people would do if there was no insider trading. I mean, just that level. But then all these other levels of people, I would say there's about 10 to 15% of the people that are not committing crime or limited in their criminal behavior. And I'm talking about everyday average people are limited in their criminal behavior because there's a police force and there's a governmental system. And so, people suck, especially in a system like ours. And a government has some rules that benefit the people, and there's organized thuggery as opposed to just gang warfare and anarchy. But this stupid comment, I'm like, you can already see what happens. We did it in Libya. We've stripped governments away in places, and immediately we see what happens. It descends into chaos. When a government falls and there's nothing, in its place, or there's a revolution or something, things are bad. The revolutionaries don't know what to do, and they fight amongst themselves. they were angry enough to take down the government, but then they don't have a backup plan. And it just sucks for years, maybe even 100 years or more, before the country settles itself. And maybe, maybe it never gets better for that country. It's just a war-torn, civil war type of place where there's hatred amongst neighbors and people and ethnic cleansing and things. Look at what happened in Libya. You just have to look at these countries where there's been a regime change and right? You can just say, all right, this was what happened in America, probably even worse. And so, this is where we are right now. This is why I say that there's a spiritual solution. It's what we have on the inside, the heartfulness meditation that I do. What you have on the inside has to be purified, has to be divinized. You have to bring God into the equation, and you have to regain your morality and your ethics and your families and your, all things that make human beings healthy and internally healthy inside, and then we'll manifest a better world. But right now, just changing leadership, just changing one thug for the other, and the people who would be in charge of the revolution are going to be thugs. It's all thugs, right? It's all violent thugs using force to impose their will. And so whatever that is, right, when people want to overtake a government, they want to use force and things like this. Because, all peaceful methods have failed, but they don't realize that once they take over the government, then they're the thug in charge. They have to use thuggery and manipulation and lies and things to keep the people pacified or whatever it might be. And so this is, the human nature right now. Humans suck, and this is our governments are a reflection of our suckiness. Our leaders are just, the worst of us, right? And the worst in each of us. And so, to change the world, we have to change internally. It's just a simple idea that there needs to be a change. There needs to be a deepening in one's connection to God. It has to happen inside first before it manifests into the outside world. Until that happens, there's just going to be one rigged thing after another. This is our world right now. Only spirituality will save it. It's Paul Romano, definitely reporting from the Apocalypse and the Ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.